Yes. Could you get me the employees of the World Bank? This idea of having students in the wrong grades because sheriffs and police departments don't enforce civil rights? Yes. I had downloaded a copy of the World Bank's involvement in human trafficking, the international law. Now, I know a lot of nations, they like to borrow money from the World Bank. But my thought was, I dislike them as a bank. I know that they feel like they're important, but over here in the United States, we're having a problem with those in the family that think they own what they don't own because of their mythological counterfeit currency. Now, the mandate is really very important. The articles expressly refer to the goal of improving conditions of labor. Yes. On one hand, the bank's practice includes today work in areas linked to human rights. Reveals a tacit agreement by member states. I'm just going to need to know the debt of every member state of the World Bank and exactly what their interest rate is. Now, the thought of selling off the actual utilities of the world so as to pay World Bank debt was not something that I found. Well, I didn't like the idea. I thought a lot of those third world nations, I'm thinking Africa, various nations in that continent. But let's say I went to suing Africa and the 54 independent nations for their knowledge of the United States refusing to enforce the civil rights of American citizens because the coercion of saying, well, he's a violent man and he's going to hurt his sons. I had wanted to start a new bank on Guam. I called them Guamanian bonds. Yes. See, Guam is one of the few United States territories where they don't have a lot of debt. I think they got maybe $3 to $4 billion worth of debt. Because I remember living there when they had went to some of these investment banks. Yes. Wanted to refinance their debt, and it was approximately $2 billion. Maybe Governor Eddie Calvo remembers that. Yeah. Back in 2011 when I was living there. Well, I had planned on actually hiring a team of individuals to refinance the World Bank's debt, the World Bank's debt, actually. And I said, well, this is what I'm going to do. I know that on Guam, I will have to pay taxes on the innovations that I'm going to sell. Because I love that U.S. territory. A lot of very attractive Chamorro women, Filipino. And once I do that, I'm going to start using my taxes in bonds. Yes. Then I'm going to go through each nation of Africa that owes the World Bank any sort of money. Look at what natural resources they have available and how to make improvements in their individual economies. Yes. Now, I know when I say, well, 2.5 million employees in the United States to make the improvements, I actually am going to need, approximately 300,000 to 400,000 individuals that want to take a nation like Cameroon, because I know this woman, a PhD, she's a tremendous woman. Yeah. And I remember once emailing her, and I thought, your vision is too small. Why don't we change all the plumbing in every nation of Africa? Which sounds like a big job. Well, what happens is each and every individual nation has natural resources, yes, and they have the availability of making improvements, yes. Maybe I sell them some hot roof technology, solar water technology, maybe a few solar furnaces. I help them use the various types of human nutrient that they have available for fertilizer. And I say, well, if we make these improvements in your individual economy, yeah, I'm willing to refinance the World Bank's debt and pay it off. And then as long as you do what is agreed, we'll set a 20-year time frame where you'll be completely out of debt as an as a third world nation. Yes. Yes, yes. Now, the United States is having a difficult time with the concept of water for some reason. Yeah. They just don't want to enforce my rights. They don't want me to sue the sheriffs and the police departments. But I had wanted to reduce the actual world's debt by 50% of what it was 5 years ago. Now, I know the World Bank has a lot of individuals as employees that they walk into a nation and they say, my gosh, you really have some bad financial problems. But I thought I would employ individuals in my office that were from every nation of the world. Attractive women that might want to have a baby or two. Yes. Could be larger breasted women from different nations that, if they did come to work, yes, they could drastically reduce the amount of debt of third world nations. Now, international law is still created by states and is predominantly reactive. Most solutions adopted follow the perception of concrete problems. Yeah. Many other rules are embodied in the customary international law. They bind all the states. We've had a problem with vows in the United States where you swear as an oath of office, I will support and defend the Constitution. In fact, there was that oath of those in the United States military, so help me God, that the Army and Navy refused to enforce the actual Constitution. Yeah. But I was reading here, there's something else. Oh, it's an act of God. Pow, pow. The visa major, a greater force, an act of God. Let's say it was an act of God. Yes, it's difficult to believe this, but I had trillions of dollars of innovations that I was planning on selling to other nations, yes, to enrich myself at their expense while at the same time helping them pay off the World Bank any loans that they might have. Yes. I increased the amount of fertilizer, water, yes, and food, yes, increasing the economies to offset the amount necessary to pay the World Bank off so as to pay me back so that I could get paid for what I had innovated. Now, let's say you're a woman in pretty much any third world nation. You like the thought of coming to work. you know, I am one of those that realize most of the world's nations are kind of in a pinch. Yes, they're feeling the weight of their international debt that the World Bank had issued. Now let's say you're looking to get 10 to 15 trillion dollars over the next 15 years, and you asked yourself, I know we love to do business with them, but we just don't have any money. Oh, I send in a team of specially trained individuals that evaluate all your resources as a nation. Yes. Suggesting improvements that you could make. Yes. Paying off the World Bank when you agree to buy my innovations and utilize the innovations. And I give you a good. See, a long time ago, I found out what's known as the Rule of 72. You might not have heard of it. Yes. At 7%, my money will double every 10 years. Yes, it will. And the United States doesn't want what I have to offer. They just don't understand exactly how upset I am.